a moment, you'll be invited to begin moving. So as you begin with stillness, as you begin with awareness of where this body is, and how this body feels here and now in this moment. Wherever you are, whether you're sitting or lying down in a chair or on the floor, let the awareness come to the hands, beginning this evening with the hands again. And you may move very little, you may change very little to tuck your thumbs in and roll the fingers around the thumbs to make fists and give the thumbs a little squeeze, a little press. And then opening one finger at a time, little finger, ring finger, middle finger, index finger, and thumb, stretching the fingers open, stretching between the fingers, and then folding the thumbs inward again and wrapping one at a time the fingers around the thumbs for a little pump, pumping the fluid out of the fingers with this physical pump, the blood, the lymph, and the fingers open one at a time. So this can be done in any position, right? You might be lying down, the hands can be on the floor, they might be propped up on the elbows, they may be resting on your lap, or you may extend them out in front of you for a little bit more of a muscular challenge for the upper arms. Moving in and out of this effort of opening and closing the fingers around the thumb, stretching the fingers when they're open, giving them little squeezes and pumps when they're closed. And then touching only the tips of the thumb and the index finger and opening that out, and the tips of the thumb and the middle fingers, both hands, and opening them up one at a time, letting the fingertips of the fingers touch the tip of the thumb. Seeing how that feels for your hands. And that might feel good. That might be where you'd like your practice for the hands today, to warm up the fingers, or you might fold the fingers into the palm of the hand, touching the fingertips to the inside of the palm one at a time. One finger comes in and then opens out. And I imagine if you're living a human life, you've been using your hands today. Maybe you were doing some cooking, maybe you were doing some cleaning, maybe some self-care, maybe some work at a computer, maybe some indoor gardening in this season. But I know you were doing something with your hands. So thank your hands for all they do. Notice how they feel. And when you feel like the fingers are warmed up, move the attention and the movement into the wrists. So the hands are moving at the wrist joints, forward and back, flex and extend. And you can try that at various facings. What does it feel like with the hands facing up? What does it feel like with the hands facing down? Facing each other. Depending on where you are, if you're on the floor, some options might be more natural than others. Just letting that be an exploration. Where can the wrists bend and fold today? And after you've kind of established that forward and back, explore what else the wrists can do. What other movements, rotations, shapes. And let the fingers be exploring with the wrists. What does it feel like to move the wrists with bent fingers, with straight fingers, with some sort of finger combination? As you move through the details there, hands and wrists. And let that rest for a moment. After you feel like the wrists have gotten some action, some activity, let the arms rest and notice. Let yourself be a witness to what you've done so far. Choose one arm, beginning perhaps with the right side, reaching that right hand straight in front of you. So if you're on the floor, it might reach towards the ceiling. If you're sitting, it might reach the wall opposite, and then touch your shoulder. And doing that 3 times in this direction, moving that arm out in front of you 3 times, and then touching the shoulder. And after 3 in that direction, go straight up. So again, if you're on the floor, it might be over your head. If you're sitting, it's towards the ceiling. 3 times the arm goes straight up, opens at the elbow, and then the fingers come back to the shoulder. And the third place they will go is straight out to the side. So first you went forward, then you went up. And if you got some other direction, then see what other direction you can find. 3 times out to the side. And stop halfway in sort of a cactus arm. And if your finger or your fingers were a laser, try to draw a circle on the ceiling. You can point the finger if that makes it easier, or you can keep the finger straight. But you're exploring the rotation. So you know that the arm comes, fingers near the shoulder, and then you know the arm comes all the way extended open. What are the possibilities between those two? Where can the hand reach between all the way open and all the way bent? So try in one direction and then switch your direction for your elbow rotation. Clockwise and counterclockwise, finish with the fingertips on the shoulder, and we'll continue with a rotation. This time the next joint up, the elbow is the laser pointer, the shoulder is the axis. Drawing those circles in one direction, between 3 and 5 circles, depending how quickly you're going, how good it feels to your body. And then switching the direction to go the other way. One direction and the other. And as you finish with this first side, perhaps the right side, take a moment to compare. This is always an interesting moment, isn't it? After you've done a bunch of things on one side and not on the other, you can notice the effects, noticing the difference. So you might be sitting, again, you might be lying down, choosing the other arm, whichever the other arm is, whichever arm you haven't moved. And if you're just joining us and wish to catch up, practice with both arms together. You can do a little faster if that feels good. Don't force yourself, don't rush. So when you're ready, one hand reaches straight out in front of you. If you're sitting, that's to the wall opposite. If you're lying on your back, it's to the ceiling, and then you touch your shoulders. And we're doing that 3 times in each of these directions. There'll be 3 directions. So the straight forward, forward and back. And then up. And back, fingers to the shoulder. About 3 times, and then out to the side. Reaching. And after you feel satisfaction there, keep the fingertips on your shoulder and begin. Oh, we forgot the elbow, sorry. Keeping the arm in a lengthened position, drawing a circle. You can point your finger if that makes it easier to draw that circle on your ceiling if you're sitting, or the fingers can be open to rotate the elbow joint in one direction and in the opposite direction. So getting the possible movements, rotation of the elbow, and then the fingers land on the shoulder and we come into the whole shoulder socket, extending that movement. Here you might do 5 or 6 of these in each direction, especially if you feel some tension in your shoulders, if you've been holding tightness in your upper chest. Allow this movement to nourish you. Change directions. And you might feel something for the shoulders that you need to focus on, that you need to be with. You might want to do both together. You might bring the fingertips together and work with both arms a little more gently before you do rotations, warming up this shoulder situation. And the circles can happen in both arms. They can also happen one at a time. Some of you might like this variation of kind of like swimming with the fingertips on the shoulders. Trying different directions, trying different variations. What does your body enjoy today? And when you feel that signal of plenty, honor that. Let your body come into a resting place. Notice what you've done. Feel through the effects. We'll do movements for the neck, and these are often most comfortably done in a sitting position, but they can also be done laying down, and you might make a variation for yourself. I'll be showing you some larger movements, but you might have a more subtle movement. I'll show you with a little more subtle. You might have just a little chin tucking and neck lengthening movement, or you might do a big forward and backward bend with the neck. So depending on where you're placed for this practice, where feels comfortable, inviting a lengthening and forward and backward movement of the neck, however that arrives for your comfort. Up and down. And it could just be lengthening the back of the neck. Bringing the chin in. Allow the body to come to center. The head arrives in the middle, and you'll move side to side, stretching the sides of the neck by bringing the ear in the direction of that shoulder on one side and the other. Let the jaw be soft. Let the tongue be soft in the mouth. As you engage in this movement, explore side to side. This might be plenty. This might feel plenty good to what you're doing. Some of you might like a more intense experience. If that's true, while your head is to the side, you can take the arm of that side and place it on that top ear, the opposite ear, for a little more pressure, a little more support. One way to make the neck side bend a little more deep, using the hand. So if your right ear is towards your right shoulder, then your right hand reaches out and over the crown of the head to the left ear. So it's opposite hand on opposite ear. And the elbow somewhere near the crown of the head. That's what you're finding a little more intense. You may continue there for a moment. If you're ready for the next, it's a twist and it's looking over as if behind your shoulders. Letting your eyes move deeply in those corners. As you turn to look behind you, the eyes also go there. They may be open. You may see some part of your room behind you. They may be closed. You don't have to have the eyelids open to move the eyeballs in their sockets. Let the movement of the spine also be a movement for the eyes in one direction and in the other. Excellent. Yeah, take a few moments there, find what you need for your neck. Some of you might be going into deeper spine movements. That's lovely. And one more movement for the neck, that's the rotation. And there are several schools. You may have a preferred intensity. I teach a conservative, gentle neck rotation in which I invite you to keep your head as if drawing a circle right in front of you. Jaw soft and loose. And you can go as deeply or as intensely in these movements as you know your body enjoys. Finding that rotation and changing direction. So the whole neck is warmed up with these 4 planes of movement, the forward and back, the side to side, the twist, and now the rotation. As you complete these neck movements, take a moment of stillness, take a moment to feel what those movements brought to your physical experience, what it feels like in your body. And if you're feeling tightness in the jaw, do a little air mouthwash. Put some bubbles in your cheeks. Just a little air in the cheeks and the lips. Swishing that around, noticing how that affects the cheeks, the jaw muscles, the bones here. Letting that soften up. Great. Okay, hands, arms, shoulders, neck. Let's go down to the toes. And you might be sitting in a chair. I'll sit in my chair to demonstrate to begin with. You might be sitting with your legs extended. You might be on the floor. And beginning as you did with the fingers, folding the toes the way you folded the hands, letting the feet open and close. To warm up the feet, to warm up the toes. You might even separate the big toe from the remaining toes there, stretching the space, that webbing between the big toe and the other toes. And once you feel the toes have activated, move on to the joint of the ankle with the pointing and flexing. So this can be done 1 foot at a time if you'd like to lift the leg and actually have a lot of access to it. You might do both legs together if that feels comfortable and available to you. Flexing and extending the ankles. And moving that motion from the up and down, from the forward and back, into a rotation, into a circle, like exploration. In both directions, one way and the other. So moving some of that energy through the feet, the toes, the ankles. When you're ready, we'll move into the knees. I'll demonstrate first here from the chair, and I'll also demonstrate from the floor. Lots of options for the knees. Sitting in a chair, you might just lift a knee and lower it. That might be what your body's up to today. You might have the strength to bring it higher into the chest. You might involve the arms. So if you'd like to make it into a bigger movement, you can also prepare for a hug and hug your leg in. Doing that a few times. If you're sitting on the floor, that happens in a similar way, scooping that up and sending it back down. It could be done lying on the floor, right? And if you're on your back, bringing that in and sending it back.
Wherever you are, whether you're on the chair or sitting or lying down, take a moment to stop about midway. And you've gotten this forward and back, this opening and closing bit done, and now a rotation. So you're exploring what movement is possible, knowing that the leg goes all the way open and closes the heel to the thigh. So what's available in the side to side? Letting your foot be like a laser pointer and the knee is your axis. Between 3 and 8 rotations in one direction, and you'll switch and go the opposite direction. So you've done knee bending and knee rotations on one side. Compare for a moment as you finish the movement on one leg. Take a moment to notice, to compare, to feel. And then the other leg with the bending, in and out 3 to 5 times. Warming up, getting really clear on how the leg moves from open to closed. And when you're ready for the next piece, for the rotation, it's good to stabilize the thigh, to hold the upper leg so the lower leg is free. To explore the range of movement available at the knee joint. When you're practicing the rotation, change directions in a good moment, going one way and then the opposite way. Some of you may need a rest. Some of you may have a knee that likes a little more attention. You might go back to the first side or spend a little longer on the second side. And some of you might like the strength and the ambition to practice with both legs together, demanding a little more of the core strength, of your balance. Something to explore. Double leg or double knee rotations are also a possibility. Again, something a little more challenging, might demand balance and focus. You might choose to explore that. You might choose to do it in your mind, and you might choose rest. You might think this is a great moment for a few deep breaths. Noticing how this body is receiving today, how this body needs to move to feel at its best. If you're on the floor and completing these movements, you might come up to sitting and let the knees open out to the sides, practicing a little bit of a butterfly. And if you're in the chair or on a couch, you might sit right at the edge and practice just a little hip opening and closing, a little moving one leg open and closed to get into those hip sockets. So these movements can happen up, and they can be happening in a more static way on the floor, coming into the hip sockets. And if you are on the floor, you might feel your hips warming up and ready to do something a little different. You might come into a forward bend. You might feel the need to twist. And those movements can happen from a chair too, right? There could be a forward bend. And the options of twisting.
Do the movements that your hips enjoy and feel good with in just a moment. We'll do some more dynamic movement for the spine that also begins in a seated position. So when you feel the spine and the legs finding what they need from that butterfly movement, from that hip movement, come to stillness. If you're sitting on a chair, you might also sit a little wider, as if you had a barrel or a bucket in front of you between your knees. And same thing on the floor. If you're sitting on the floor, let your feet open up as if you had a object of some sort between your knees. And this is churning the mill. You might grasp onto an imaginary lever or a spoon if you like to cook. And this is a movement of the spine, low in the spine, just over the pelvis, as if stirring, as if you're stirring a great big pot of soup or oatmeal. And the arms might make some movements. You might keep the arms straight. You might have a little softness in the elbows, but the focus is in the spine. Let this be about what's happening in the section of the body between the hips and the ribs. So on a chair, on a couch, a little space behind you to lean back. In one direction, and then you'll switch your direction. And whatever you've stirred up, let yourself unstir it. Stir it the other way. That's right. This is the heat generating practice. Maybe welcome to some of you on a cold day. Churning the mill as you create that heat, that energy in the body. Come back to center, come back to stillness. We'll do one more from this series. We'll also do rowing the boat from this group of practices. So wherever you are, I'll demonstrate on the floor in just a moment, beginning on a chair if you're there, holding imaginary oars, reaching up as if you were actually rowing. There might be a bit of a forward bend, a bit of a backward bend, as if you were rowing the oars at an intensity that feels good to you. So if you want to make it strong and intense and really pull at those oars with your muscles, that's a choice. You might choose to do that. And you might just keep it light and gentle. For you, it might be just the movement that feels good, that softness, that flow. You're going in one direction 5 to 8 times, and in the opposite direction on the floor, same thing. Letting this movement meet your needs, being as intense or as soft as you need it to be. All right, so these energy releasing postures, these heat generating movements, getting them into your spine one way and the other to find your stillness once you've moved in ways that feel good and satisfying, arriving back at center, arriving into stillness, to notice, arriving for a moment to check in, to take note. What have I done so far? What do I feel? What does the body need? What does the body communicate to me? Being present. What does this body need right now? And you might be getting a message. Your body might have a clear message. It might say, move me like this, or lay me down and don't move me. And I hope you can listen and honor your body. And if your body says, keep doing what you're doing, keep playing this game, all right, Keep playing this game. If you're sitting on the floor, you might sweep both feet to one side so that you end up on the hands and knees for some cat pose. And this can be done on the chair without leaving the chair. Just ask that you be on the edge. The cat pose is about a backward and forward bend of the spine. So your relationship to gravity is a choice, your angle. If you're on the chair, make sure you have the space behind you to round your back to really find that curve forward, and then sticking the tail out and looking up for the back bend. That's the cat pose on the chair and on the floor. A series of forward and backward bends. Let this cat be free. Once you've warmed up the basics, you might feel into what it is that your body is longing for and needing. And it might look like nothing you've seen in a book, nothing in any class or description. You are free to move your body in ways that it needs and wants to move. Whichever of the variations that you're with, if you're on the chair, you can explore all sorts of other directions of movement. You might lift an arm, you might reach in a variety of directions to explore that with the spine. If you are on your hands and knees, you might also explore some arm movements, some reaches. What's possible? Where does the body feel tight and what kind of movement gets that spot? There's no wrong way to do this. Exploring these movements, exploring where the hips, where the shoulders, where the neck want to be, want to go. And if the rule is that you are listening to your body and honoring your body, there might be a moment when you come to stillness, when you come to satisfaction. Making a pause in the movement, finding a moment of stillness, of completion. From this position down on the hands and knees, if you're on the floor or sitting, we will move to standing work, standing positions. Some of you may already be tucking your toes under and lifting the hips into a downward dog. From the floor, that's tucking the toes under, lifting the knees and lifting the hips to shift into this upside down V position. The option on the chair is to use the chair as a wall, so you can also use a wall. Rather than going all the way to the floor, the hands can come either to the back of the chair. Let's see which wall can be good. Or they might even be on a wall. So this is about that stretch from the armpits. It's about the stretch in the backs of the legs. You might choose to do that on the floor. You might choose to do that with the support of a little piece of furniture there for your steadiness and your comfort. As you move through this transition, through the dog pose, again, you might know things that you love to do. Some people like to stretch one leg out and up. Some people step tall on their toes. This is here. I'll show you what some of the things are. So if you're here, you might reach a leg straight back. You might reach it up. You might bring a knee to the elbow or armpit on one side or on the opposite side. You might stand tall on the toes, bend the knees so that the arms can give the length to the spine. And you might find something a little new there for the legs, for the back. That variation can be done with the wall too. You come up on the toes, bend the knees, and then lengthen from the arms to the hips for that stretch. Finishing up this piece of your stretching to come up to a standing position if you're comfortable doing so. And again, you may choose to sit and do the movements just with your upper body. If your legs need to keep resting, that's absolutely fine. So finding your standing position and beginning with the legs just a little apart, right? So they're not squished together. They're just under the hip sockets, parallel to each other. And there's a softness, right? I'm ready to jump if I need to. Nothing's blocked, nothing's locked. So those soft knees, bringing the hands together. You might interlace the fingers and flip the palms down if that's comfortable for your hands. The hands can also stay open if that's more available for you. From this position, the hands sweep up and you grow your whole body, feet down to the floor as the hands reach up. It's often nice to just start with this reach. If you feel up for it, if you feel good, come up on the toes, make yourself even taller, make it a balancing challenge. Moving in this posture up to 7 repetitions, up to 7 times if you're counting, if you like that aspect, or just enough times that feel good. The body doesn't need a specific number. The body's going on feeling. However you're practicing this, do notice shoulders in relation to ears and keep them far apart. The shoulders sometimes like to visit their ear friends, but for this practice, let the shoulders keep their distance, distancing between ears and shoulders. Further reach and further rest. We'll follow with a side bend, and there are several variations. The recommendation is to stand wider. Your wider stance will give you more stability, steadiness if you are standing. And again, this might be done sitting. Lots of options for the arms. You might choose to just have the arms go along for the ride. This might be just about the movement of your spine, for your awareness, for your focus. Or you might engage, sweeping that arm up the side that's open, that's opening to the ceiling. That hand might come up to that armpit. It's kind of the first step of intensity. And if that feels good, maybe keep going. Honoring the shoulders, listening to any signals that your body might be sending you today. Some of you might like to interlace the fingers and have the arms lifted in this practice. This often stabilizes the neck and brings the movement more intensely into the lower parts of the spine, into the lumbar and hips. So
That might be a safer choice, an easier choice for some of you, and it might be more intense for others. Only you know. You're the boss of your body. You live in there, so pay close attention to what the body tells you, making those choices from that place of safety, care. Okay. Following the side bend is our twist, our standing twist. Again, the legs remain in a wide position for your steadiness, your stability. You have that softness in your knees like you were ready to jump. I enjoy inviting you to lengthen out tall and wide for this moment of as big of a body as you have, right? How often do we get to really stand in our biggest shape, our biggest expression? So take a moment to show the world just how big of a unit your unit is. And then you can twist that around, wrapping the arms around the body, looking over the shoulders as you do, one direction and the other. It might feel good to hold. It might feel good to get in there in that twist and stay there for a moment. Let the body get all that twist. And some of you might enjoy a faster variation. Again, you know what will serve you, what will nourish your body as you give yourself this standing twist, give yourself this opportunity to rise up the energy, to bring up the energy, and then to arrive, and then to finish the dynamic and come into the static, come into rest, standing rest, a moment to rest in standing. We'll do the first three postures, the first three pieces of a traditional sun salutation. So let's call them 1, 2, and 3. And so when we put them together, it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. So there's going to be 5 stops. Let's train in a couple of different variations for the arms. So I'll show you a couple of options. Watch first. I'll demonstrate and I'll narrate, and then I'll guide the movement a little more succinctly. So watch first. Position 1 is the hands together, and it's a moment of centeredness. It's a moment of tall body, of centered body, a moment of focus, of decision that I'm going to do this. The inhale traditionally is a reach up. You might reach up, you might do a tiny back bend if that's available to you. If your shoulders aren't having that, you can also reach down. It's about opening the chest. It's about taking a deeper breath. So wherever that deeper breath is for you is going to be your number 2 position. It may be there, it may be there, it may be somewhere even in the middle, 1, 2. The third position is a forward bend. Position 3 is folded forward. You don't have to go very low. It could just be hands to the knees. Again, you could be doing this in a chair, bringing hands to the knees. Position number 3 is closed. Position number 2 is open wherever your 2 was. And then position number 1, hands at the heart. So finding what's going to work for you and moving through these 3 postures or these 5 stops a few times at your own pace. 1, stillness, tall, steady. 2, back bend, open chest. 3, forward bend, closed body. 2, open chest. 1, back to stillness, back to center, back to focus. 1, beginning again. 2, open chest, open heart. 3, forward bend, folding down. 2, open again, through the chest, through the heart. 1, hands together, head tall. Continuing at your pace, if this feels good, another 2 or 3 times. If you have it in your body to do more of the sun salutation, if that's something you enjoy, that you come naturally to, this is your practice, this is your body, this is your time. If, on the other hand, you're already feeling tired, you're already feeling like you've moved enough, great, honor that and give yourself whatever rest or whatever stretch or position that might nourish you most at this moment. We'll take a few more moments here with this piece, with this introduction to the sun salutation, these 3 postures. Maybe I'll show them on a chair, what they might look like on a chair. It could be 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. Or a little more intense, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. We'll do one more physical piece, one more balancing posture once you feel complete with this. So finishing this bit of movement, evening it out, letting your body find stillness, find center. If you're seated, stay seated. If you're standing, feel your tall body, feel your grounding. If you're sitting, feel your connection to the seat and your spine supported above. For the balancing posture today, you'll begin with a preparation, holding a knee in the front, and this might be your balance today. This might be what you need to find steadiness. If you do feel steady, the invitation will be to take that to a dancing pose, a little one-legged balance with the foot behind. But again, first, finding that balance with the knee in front. One side, no hurry, switching sides as your body tells you to switch. This might be the whole practice, just holding a knee in front. And if your steadiness is there, the knee from the front goes behind, the hand holds that foot. The opposite hand reaches forward. That might be your balancing, that might be your spot to find. As your steadiness increases, the space between the heel and the hip increases. Excellent. At least 2 rounds on each side for balance, at least perhaps further rounds if it feels good, if it feels nourishing and helpful. And balancing postures might also be practiced in your imagination. You might be feeling like you've done enough physically, so let the body rest if that's true for you. Don't force it, don't pressure your body into anything. You might imagine standing on one foot to bridge some of those connections, the mind-body. And as you feel complete with balancing, as you feel complete, you might feel warm. Balancing requires the whole body, strength and core, and engaging all the joints, all the muscles, which is why we do it last. And once you feel complete with that, we'll be transitioning into a breathing practice and into our Yoga Nidra. So please find your comfort, find your nest. You may be in a chair, and a couch. Now, if you're on the couch, scooch all the way back so that your back is properly supported. If you're on a chair, give yourself that full support. And if you are on the floor, let yourself be supported, right? Get something under the knees. A little blanket might be a good idea on a day like today. Situating, organizing as you arrive back into stillness, as you arrive into the resting piece of our time together. This is a time for the body to integrate. Everything you've done has created physiological or chemical reactions in your body, right? Your brain chemistry is slightly changed from these movements. You might feel a little differently. Your body might have fresh blood flow, fresh lymphatic flow. So taking note of what you can physically notice, what has been created in your body in this time. What have you managed to do? And just giving yourself that acknowledgement. However intensely or softly you practice, you showed up. You showed up for yourself. You showed up for your body. And for the soft part of you that lives in that body, your mental health, your spiritual health. After having offered the body these movements, what does it feel like to be resting? What does it feel like to be breathing? Watch this breath. Can you breathe in such a way that the body is in its natural breath and that the mind is just watching without controlling the breath? Is that possible today? To set the breath free, to trust the body, to breathe perfectly with no direction from the mind, from the rational thinking mind, just allowing the body to breathe like it does when you're sleeping, like it does when you're busy in activities, finding the natural breath. Be a witness to this breath. And some of you might like to hum on your exhale. Everyone is muted, and so you can make loud humming sounds without disturbing anybody on the class, at least, or on this call. So see what that feels like. If you've never hummed during an exhale, give that a try. See what that feels like and what effect it produces in the body. Letting the exhales grow longer as you invite this vibration throughout your face and head, around the throat and collarbones, letting this humming soothe and nourish the chest, the ribs, the heart, and the whole body. The whole body. The whole body. Breathing in naturally, exhaling with a hum. Or maybe a very quiet hum if you are not feeling the desire to vocalize, or maybe you've done a few and you're feeling satisfied with that vocalize, and getting that more and more subtle, getting that breath. Noticing how it feels in the throat, how subtle of a hum. Can you make almost like a baby snoring sound, a deep ocean breath sound? Some of you may know Ujjayi pranayama, the deep ocean breath. Let the awareness be at the throat. You might imagine that you're drawing the breath in through the throat, although physically it comes in and out of the nose. And imagine that on the inhale, you're making the sound AH, and with the exhale, the sound HA. So what happens in this breath is that the throat takes on a muscular pattern, a vocal pattern, as if making those sounds, HA and AH. But the mouth is closed, and it's the breath moving through this pattern, a muscular pattern in the throat, as if to make that sound. See what that feels like. See if you can create a little experience sensation for yourself. Awareness of the throat. Moving the breath through this vocal pattern, through this muscular pattern. Think of AH, inhaling. And HA with exhale. Inhaling and exhaling. If it feels good to practice this way, if you're familiar with Ujjayi and it's soothing and comforting to you, practice that. Stay in that breath for a while. If you're a little confused, if you haven't quite done this, if you're not sure if you're doing it right, let it go. Let it go and be with your breath. Just that is it is. The breath, I guarantee, is right. You are breathing correctly, if you are breathing at all. So if you know Ujjayi, if you enjoy Ujjayi, practice Ujjayi for the next minute or so. And if you tried it and you feel satisfied, be with the natural breath. Watch the breath come and go. Listen to the breath. Feel the breath. Feel the breath at the nose. Feel the breath at the throat. Feel the breath in the chest. Deeper in the trunk. Be aware of where else this breath can be noticed. Where else can you feel and experience the breath at this moment? Let the breath return to natural. Let the breath return to effortless, to soft and smooth and easy. Let yourself breathe again as if you were sleeping, but the mind
watches. Watches without controlling. The mind is here, present, paying attention, but not telling the breath what to do, not telling the breath how to be. Just allowing the breath, allowing the body to breathe, natural breath awareness. In just a movement, we'll move into the final piece of our time together, into a Yoga Nidra practice. You may be just where you need to be for that. You may be ready to move into this meditative guided relaxation. And you may need to get ready. You might need a little moment to pull together whatever props or objects you need for your comfort. So if you are ready, be ready. Be ready, be present, feel your body, feel your breath. And if you're finding your place, take your time to find the most perfect place. There's no rush. This settling, this initial part of the Yoga Nidra might be the most important part of the practice. Don't make any economy on your comfort. If you have a pillow or a blanket nearby that you're thinking about, but oh, it's in the other room, go get it. Go get it. You'll be more comfortable for the next 20 minutes if you're thinking about it now. It's worth it. It's worth it. So getting whatever you need together, creating a little luxurious nest, your Nidra nest, Yoga Nidra nest. And that, again, might be in a chair. That might be where your body feels the best. You might be on a bed somewhere. I saw a discussion recently online. Nidra in bed, Nidra on the floor. What's better? Well, better is where you're more comfortable. That's the answer. You might prefer to be on the floor. The knees might like to be supported. Sometimes it's good to even put the lower legs over a chair, or if you're on the floor, onto a couch, onto a bed. Helps soothe the low back, especially if there's any low back tension or pain. Bringing the knees higher is helpful. And this is the beginning of the Yoga Nidra. My British colleagues call it faffing the body into comfort. Fussing with this, fussing with that, fluffing a pillow, bunching up or spreading out a blanket. All the little details, letting the mind move around the whole body, addressing every sensation, every little glimmer, every little spark of attention that the body calls for. You may need to remove a watch or some jewelry. You might need to unbutton a button or loosen up some drawstrings. Let your body be well settled, given what it needs to be comfortable. And if it's safe to do so, let the eyes close. And when the two outside eyes, the two eyes on the face are closed, sometimes that third eye, the inner eye, wakes up and opens. Let yourself look. If the eyes are closed, notice what the eyes can see in the closed eyelids. For some of you, it may be quiet and peaceful and dark in the eyelids, and for others, there may be lights or energy or movement, shapes. Some people get visuals, some people don't. Again, there's no wrong way to be, no wrong way to do this. Notice what you notice. What's there now? What's there today? When I close my eyes, what do I see? And can you move this inner vision around? Can you look up above the eyelids and look down below the eyelids? Can you look all the way down as if sending the eye into the chest, into the heart? Can you look into your inner landscape? Can you gaze upon the expanse of the heart space? What do you see when you invite the vision into the body? And again, there's no wrong way. There might be stillness, darkness. There might just be the sense of body. But there might be something interesting. There might be something surprising, something unexpected. Be open to this third eye and this awareness. Moving around and taking you places that are perhaps unexpected. Here at the expanse of the heart, let this awareness be in the chest and the heart. With this question, how do I wish to feel? That's the question. How do I wish to feel? What do I wish for my body? Which parts of my body am I wishing for better health for greater ease, for greater comfort? How do I wish to feel emotionally? How do I wish to feel in my connections and relationships with my friends, family, colleagues, coworkers? How do I wish to feel? Today is the third Monday of 2021. And historically, I know in England, this is called Blue Monday. A number of people have their New Year's resolution crisis on this day, 3 weeks in, and they say, never mind, I can't do it, or I failed already. So today, in the space of Yoga Nidra, I invite you to challenge that. I invite you to call in the praise, the joy, the admiration, appreciation that you have for your body and for your life. Maybe thinking of 3 things that you are grateful for about this body. 3 things you are grateful for about how you do feel. How do I wish to feel? And what am I grateful for here that I do feel? Charging your inner landscape with these perspectives of what you're wishing for, what you're longing and desiring, very valid desires to feel. However it is, empowered, strong, healthy, confident, calm, loving. How do I wish to feel? Compassionate, understanding. And 3 things to be grateful for about this body, about this life. Creating your own medicine this way, reminding your own body how amazing it truly is, this vessel of life. Allow this awareness to move down to the feet. Welcome and thank you to the right foot and to the left foot. Welcome and thank you to the 2 heels, the soles of the feet, right big toe and left big toe, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th toes on the right and the left. The top of the right foot and the top of the left foot. Thank you and welcome to the right ankle and to the left ankle. Thank you. Welcome to the lower legs on the right and the left and the 2 knees. Thank you to the kneecaps, right and left. And thank you to the backs of the knees. Let this gratitude extend into the thighs, right and left, the backs of the thighs, the hamstrings on the right and the left, and into the buttocks, right buttock, right hip, left hip. Thank you and welcome to the whole pelvis, to the sacrum, the tailbone there in the back, all the way around to the pubic symphysis in the front. Thank you and welcome to the lower abdomen, the navel, the upper abdomen. Wrap this welcome around the sides of the belly to the low back. Thank you to the low back. Thank you to the whole spine, from the lumbar spine to the middle there, the thoracic spine. Thank you to the right shoulder blade and the left shoulder blade, to the hollow between. Extend this gratitude to the chest, right and left, and to the breastbone at the center. Thank you and welcome right armpit and left armpit. Thank you shoulders, right and left, and upper arms. Thank you to the elbows and the forearms on the right and the left, the right wrist, the left wrist, the right hand and the left hand. Thank you, right hand thumb. Thank you, left hand thumb. Welcome, right hand index finger. Welcome, left hand index finger. Thank you, middle fingers, right and left. And welcome, ring fingers, right and left. Thank you, little fingers, right and left. You might feel this gratitude, this light of appreciation at the palm, at the center of the right hand and the center of the left hand. Extending this gratitude up the arms into the collarbones, right and left, and at the hollow between. Thank you to the front of the neck, to the back of the neck, to the back of the head, the right and left sides of the head. Welcome right ear and left ear, right temple and left temple, cheekbones, right and left, the right jawline, the left jawline, chin, lips, nose, bridge of the nose, right eye, left eye, right eyebrow, left eyebrow, eyebrow center, forehead, hairline, the crown of the head, and the back of the head. Together, the head and face, neck and shoulders, right arm, left arm, chest and upper back, low back and abdomen, pelvis, right leg, left leg. Together, be aware of both legs, the trunk and both arms, neck and head. Together, the whole body, the whole body, the whole body. Be aware of the whole body, resting the whole body, breathing the whole body here, present, in the practice of Yoga Nidra, in the state of conscious awareness, in this state between asleep and awake, the awareness home with the body, the awareness home with the breath. Be aware of this body, breathing, resting, the whole body, comfortable. Comfortable in its comfortable spot. Wherever this body is, be aware of the breath moving in the body, this arrival and departure, the inhale and the exhale, expansion, contraction. Watch the breath as if watching a piece of music or a play, a movie. Watch the movement as the breath arrives at the edges of the nostril, sweeps in and through the body, fills parts of the chest. You might feel pressure in the trunk, the abdomen. Be witness to the details of every inhale and every exhale. And watch the breath specifically between the navel and the throat. Watch the body's movements and reactions between the navel and the throat. As the body breathes in, the awareness moves up from the navel to the throat. And with the exhale, the awareness moves down from throat to navel. Sweeping the awareness up on inhale and sweeping the awareness back down with the exhale. Every breath, the mind moves down to up and up to down. And somewhere in the middle of this trajectory, somewhere along the path of the awareness, is the heart. With every inhale and every exhale, the awareness sweeps through the body and over the heart, as if washing the heart, as if purifying this heart. As the breath comes in, the awareness purifies the heart coming up. And with the exhale, the awareness moves down, purifies the heart in this movement down. Just be there. The next few breaths. Awareness of inhale and exhale. Anything the heart needs to let go of, it lets go on the exhale. And anything the heart needs to be strong, to be courageous, it receives on the inhale. Making space with every exhale. And receiving the nourishment with every inhale. And let that go. Be aware of the whole body. Be aware of the whole body. And again, be aware of the heart's desire. How do I wish to feel? What would I do? How would I live my life if I felt the way I wished? If I received what I longed to receive? What would I do? How would I live? If I found myself feeling in this way that I wish to feel, what would be possible in this life? Holding that as a question, and there may be an answer, and there may not be a clear and present answer. The answer may come later, maybe in a dream, in your sleep, or maybe quite unexpectedly pop into your mind. And maybe it's a feeling, maybe it's something without words, more subtle than that. Trusting this process, trusting this body, and trusting life.
Be aware of this body, be aware of this experience, and begin to listen to the outside, listen to the room, to the sounds of the space where you are, listening to the room and beyond, maybe sounds outside of the windows, beyond the doors, listening to life out there in the world. Listen closer by, listen to the sounds that are here in this room with you. Listen for your own sounds, the sounds of your body, the sounds of your breath. Listen for the breath and feel the breath. Feel the air moving in the nose. Feel the air filling up the chest and expanding the trunk of the body as you inflate on inhale and deflate on exhale. Feel the whole body. Feel this movement in the body and feel the whole body, the legs, the arms, the trunk, front and back of this body, lower and upper halves, the right side, the left side, the outside, the surface of your body, and the inside, the inner world together. Together, the physical body, the breath body, emotions, thoughts, intuition, and the connectedness to all of life together. Together, this whole body, this whole body. This whole body in this practice of Yoga Nidra that is coming to its end. You may choose to stay where you are. We have this beautiful evolution in the practice now that you might choose to stay in the resting space that is Yoga Nidra. And you may choose to emerge from it. You may choose to awaken, to bring yourself ready for more activities in the rest of the day. There's no wrong way to do this. If you're choosing to wake up, deepen the breath. If you're choosing to be more alert, wiggle the toes, wiggle the fingers, make your body awake. And if you're choosing to stay resting, be with your breath, be with your body, be with your needs. Thank you for listening. As you emerge from this practice, you might rub the hands together. That helps wake you up again if that's a choice you'd like. You might massage the ears and the earlobes. That wakes the body up. Any other movements, stretches, yawns, letting the body guide you intuitively. Thank you. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for showing up. This practice is complete. Thank you for watching. Please like the video and leave a comment about your experience. And while you're here, please subscribe to my channel and opt in for notifications to catch the next class I upload. And then head over to olgachwa.com to join in a live event or to work one-on-one with me. I'm here to help.